Anne Leverty, the Executive Chief People Officer of North East and North Cumbria Integrated Care Board, she said this: the funding for this role fits within the current budget allocation that we get. And as a result of restructure, an opportunity has allowed us to create this very important role within the senior leadership team. So she's got the money for it, basically. I mean, OK, I respect that we've got that statement now. But for me, if you have the money for it, that money could be going... I would be looking at paying more training for nurses. I'd be putting that money in improving waiting lists in some way. I'd be putting that money into something else. I just don't think it's best place to be spent in that way.
I suppose the question for the NHS Trust in question, like, why is it they believe this to be the case? And I think it's something that, like, kind of they would be best placed to answer. I certainly can't sit here and say, well, what hiring decisions do and don't make sense. I'm quite...
Do you think that the diversity and inclusion roles are a good idea, though?
It depends on the situation and circumstance. I can't evaluate an outside organisation from a...
I agree with you that the decisions on these things are context-specific, and whether they're good or not depend on the reasons. But what we just got there in the statement is actually circular. You know, we have the money and we're going to do it. And that's actually no justification at all. And the point with the national healthcare system, just like anything else, is that you only have a finite budget. That which you take out of pot A is not going to go into pot B. And that's twofold. First of all, that's money that isn't going into frontline services, into medicine and so forth. But the second thing is that when people see spending like that, some will resent spending on the NHS per se. And when spending on... People will always argue that spending on the NHS isn't high enough, and I understand that the passion that drives that belief. But when the NHS spending is already at the highest level it's ever been, some people are going to look at their tax burden, look at what we spend on the healthcare system and say, well, if it's going to this sort of thing, I disapprove of it. And it's a bit like the discussion we were having before about Prince Harry. This tarnishes the brand beyond just the thing. People don't look at this and say, oh, this is just an officer in the northeast of England. They say bureaucracy. And they say, to hell with the NHS. And if you're going to defend it, you're going to have to do better than that statement.
That's a very...